Okay, let's take a look here and go over how we're going to be adding some textures and objects to your interior. Remember that anytime you select from your interior, you need to be on your background, right? So that you are contained within the blocks. And you may decide that you need to put the image behind several components, like this window up here. I'm going to try maybe to put something over here. Let's see how it goes. In order to do the selecting, I highly recommend you using the magic wand tool because you can have a tolerance here and you want it to be contiguous, right? So contiguous means touching. So you want all the white touching, but then it stops when it hits the black. To select more than one, let's zoom in here a little bit. You're going to hold the shift key down. So hold the shift key down and then you can select a number of different sections in your image. Right? Now, we're going to want to come back to this selection later. But now I've selected it, right? And we'll get back to that later. The next thing I want to do is go find the image I'm going to toss in here. Now, I'm not quite sure how big this is, but we will find out in a minute. If you need to make it larger, remember you go to Image, Image Size, and here, that's not too bad, we're going to resample, and we're going to do a percentage. We're going to increase by 120%. And then if you needed to increase more, you could come back and do another 120%. This is frankly fine for what I need. So I'm going to copy this. In fact, yeah, that'll be fine. And then I'm going to go back over here. And I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to want that in front of a few things. So let's put it here. When you paste it, it'll come in as its own layer, right? Now what we want to do, because we don't have that selection yet, is go back to select and reselect. See the marching ants? That's where we want that. What I'm going to do is with that selected, then go to create a layer mask where I'm going to reveal the selection so that I selected the parts where I want the columns to show up. So I'm going to reveal the selection. There we go. Now, here's the thing. My columns are kind of facing the wrong way. So over here, I'm going to, first of all, disconnect, right, my layer mask from my picture so I can manipulate my picture. If I just needed to move the picture around, oops, there we go. You can see by the white box, I'm still on my layer mask. I need to be on the picture. Select that layer so I can move this around. If it were that easy, I'd be all set. But what I actually need to do is transform this and flip it horizontally, bloop, so my columns are headed in the other direction. And I actually need this to be a little bit smaller. So let's make that a little bit smaller so that it will fit, pretty much over here. Now, I may want to play with the perspective a little bit. I may want to skew this some. Right? I like the fact that the top header kind of goes right there, but I'm missing some things, right? So in order to do that, I can go back up to Edit, Transform, and I'm going to skew, I believe, because what I want to do is take that corner, and bring it down that way, and take this corner and bring it up. Oh, and maybe, I go out too far and the columns then look like they're tilting somewhere and I would like them to stay upright, please. That's not so bad. Bring that there. I can live with that. We do sort of lose the bottom of the columns, but all in all, I have columns. That makes me happy. Then I could do a secondary selection and get rid of the sky and put something else back there. I'm not going to worry about it too much. It is sort of a dark, like it's nighttime or sunset at the beach and it's sunset outside and I can have it sunset back there, but I don't care that much. So we have these. And you guys, some of you saw me putting in the moss wall and moving that around. So maybe here's another opportunity to do our edit, transform, skew. I'm feeling like, there we go. We were moving a little bit up in the air. Oops. I have to unlock that so that the only thing I'm actually moving, transform, skew. Aha. There we go. There's that guy. And maybe that, and maybe it's too much of an angle. We have some issues. Maybe that should go a little bit that way. Ideally, your lines will match up to the lines in the other parts of your picture. Ideally, we shall see. Yeah, not too shabby. I think that matches up a little bit better with the perspective we were going for. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Keep going until you have all the pieces. Make sure you have at least one object that is in the picture for scale, and go in and do a better job at sort of working around here. One of the things you can do, for example, you'll see this is the layer that I'm on, right? If I want to start to edit out how much of the figure versus the water I'm seeing, I can go back and click on the layer mask itself. And remember, what you see is white, what you don't see is black. So if you have a small brush and you don't want to see something, so for example, I don't necessarily want to see that. Oh, and you could contain that a little bit if I were being a little bit smarter. I could decide that I want to do the outline so I don't accidentally erase part of my person. To decide where water might be. Are they in the water? Maybe I want them to be in the water. I'm not sure. Well, close enough. And then I can go back and just kind of go over this like that. And there's my person. Depends on how detailed you want to be with your erasing. And how much you'd like to zoom. Remember, you can totally zoom in a lot and get kind of detailed. But make your edges accurate, please. Right? There's a hand in there somewhere. Not so bad. So these are the kinds of things that I'm sort of expecting you to do, to go back in and get those details right for whatever works. Now, down here, I might want a little bit more water, so I just have to flip to the white, and I can put that water back in here, right? The edge of the beach. Or I may decide I need a little more water here to make that realistic and functional, so that his foot's still in the water. You have those kinds of options. And then you can just go in and clean up whatever else you might need to clean up. Where am I? On white, see-through, not see-through, depends. So you can see what it is you want to see here. And then you have, I'm not quite sure where the edge of that is. This was the other one that we did. And remember, watch those fuzzy edges on your brush, where I was going to come in here and do some work on the column, layer mask, on the blue. And this is another place where selecting in the blue, right? And if I wanted all of the blue, I could do a non-contiguous. And then when I select the blue, it's the blue everywhere. And I can be a little bit, depends on whether or not I decide I want those wires. I can be a little bit picky. Back to the brush. There we go. And the don't see part, and I can kind of do this all over here, and most of the blue will go away. Now, my blue I selected with a 25, back here, 25 tolerance. It might just mean that I need to go in and select a little more carefully a different color blue here, right? And I can also hold the shift key down if I want to. There's another blue. Get that blue everywhere there is that blue, and that blue everywhere there's that blue. There is a point at which you're like, oops, I got all the grays that are the same color as everything else, so that does not work for me. So I'm going to Command Z that one. The rest of this doesn't look too bad, maybe? So I'll go back to my black. Okay, I put some serious holes in there, but you get the idea. You can get rid of most of the sky that way. See how that works for you. All right, not so bad. Oh, and I forgot this part. Right, these are the big parts. Fabulous. Alrighty. Now it looks like my column is in the space a little bit more accurately. Okay, so those are the things you can start with, and we feel free to ask questions anywhere along the way, and we'll go from there.